Committee, I think we'll go ahead and get started. There will be some minutes that'll be emailed out for approval. Today we have on the schedule a presentation from the Kansas Turnpike Authority. We have CEO Steve Hewitt and Alan Strite with us. Welcome to the committee, Steve. And those of you online, I know we're having some issues, but it's starting to hold now, so thank you.
Good morning. Thank you, Chairman and members of the committee and those on online or WebEx or Zoom. I know it's technically challenging these days, but we appreciate the opportunity to get in front of you and talk about the Kansas Turnpike. Again, I'm Steve Hewitt, Chief Executive Officer for the Kansas Turnpike. I've been the CEO since 2015, 6 years now. Very excited about what we're doing. We always enjoy coming out and telling our story and talking about what we're doing and how we're impacting the state, and so we appreciate the opportunity to do that again this year. So in 2019, we embarked in an effort to make sure we updated the Kansas Turnpike and looked at our mission and vision. And as you can see here, our mission, we obviously, those same values that started in the 50s when the Turnpike began are still strong today, making sure we offer a safe, reliable roadway, customer-based, understanding the value of the customer, and being fiscally responsible is obviously very important. Our vision, obviously, is to help transportation advance in Kansas. That's very important. And we do that through innovation and partnerships and through our leadership to make sure we're a good partner to communities and to the state. It's always fun to think about the history of the Kansas Turnpike. Opened the doors, the roadway in 1956 in an effort to connect Kansas, Oklahoma border to Kansas City, connect our three largest cities, Wichita, Topeka, Kansas City, and to do that without putting the liability on the state. That's very important. Building a toll road versus putting the tax dollars on the state and leaving that liability to the tolls themselves. I'm very excited about the fact that still today we operate without any tax dollars. We don't take federal or state tax dollars. We live by the tolls we bring in. It was also built prior to the state interstate system, so that was very important at the time to connect our state, and we did it even prior to other states. There's old pictures, if you had a chance to look, that we had the Turnpike completed and we stopped at the Oklahoma border and there was nothing. Oklahoma wasn't ready for us, and so they came a couple years later, but I think that's the theme, right? Kansas is always ahead of Oklahoma, no pun intended. But again, we're always excited about talking about the history because we still maintain those values today. It's always good to look at some basic facts of the Kansas Turnpike. Obviously, that roadway is 236 miles from the Oklahoma border, as I said, to Kansas City. We currently have 355 employees, again, supported by 100% of the tolls. We do not take any tax dollars. It was built in 22 months, as we talked about in the 50s. 22 months, you couldn't build a project that large today in 22 months. So obviously that's a fun history item as well. 350 bridges on the Kansas Turnpike. We have 6 service areas, 22 toll plazas. Last year, we had 35 million trips. 35 million customers drove on the Kansas Turnpike. I think that's always how many people actually utilize the Turnpike, and and we're down, obviously, and we'll talk about that due to the COVID year. But again, we had a large number of folks that utilize our system. We have 51 highway patrol troopers on the Turnpike dedicated to service the Turnpike, Troop G, and they're paid 100% by the Turnpike. We pay salaries, benefits, equipment, cars, vests, guns, bullets, we do it all. We make sure we use our revenue to pay for those troopers to dedicate their service for our customers. And we have a 5-member board, the oversight board, to help manage the Kansas Turnpike. That includes the Senate Transportation Chair, the House Transportation Chair, 2 at-large members appointed by the governor, and the Secretary of Transportation. As I just mentioned, obviously, our 35 million trips last year, we had an impact with COVID. Everybody had an impact with COVID. But to show you here, as you can tell, we obviously took a big hit in traffic last year with the shutdown, and still people today are not moving as much as they once were traveling. We were down in 2020, 23% down in traffic compared to 2019. Our lowest point, as you can see on the chart, in April, down 65%. Now, we have slowly been recovering. As things open up, as people get more active, we are seeing a positive sign. There is one bright side to this. Our commercial traffic has stayed steady. Our commercial travelers obviously getting goods and services, product to our homes, to our businesses. They have been strong and steady. They've really helped us to maintain our system this past year. That traffic impacts obviously revenue. And revenue obviously is how we operate our system. Low traffic, drop in revenue. We saw a drop we lost about $15 million this past year. Now, the good things we'll talk about, we have a strong fiscal backbone. We were able to manage through this and get through it. We made adjustments through operations. We didn't buy as much equipment this past year. We made some adjustments in our spending. We got down to the essentials, but we wanted to make sure we kept our commitments and projects. We wanted to make sure that our roadway was safe, contractors were working and making sure to fulfill those gaps in our roadway and make them better. And so we used our reserves and some operational savings to get by and to manage. And I'm very proud to say that we didn't lay anybody off. We kept our staff, we kept our projects, and kept our commitments, and we're very pleased and proud to say that. As we talked about our fiscal stability, we have the highest bond rating you can receive for a toll road, public toll road in the country through Moody's. We reduced our operations. We cut some spending but in operations only, but not in projects. And again, I want to say that a few times because we want to make sure that we're getting our projects and the safety of the projects out there. Our customers are safe and things are happening and moving still. Again, we don't receive any tax dollars, so we had to live by the tolls we bring in. It's very important. Our expenditures in fiscal 2020 were $24.5 million. Our revenues were $125 million. The expenditure breakdown goes like this. Our operations, we spend $49.7 million. Our debt service is $16.4 million. Our preservation projects, we spent $28.1 million. And modernization projects, we spent $30.1 million. Our total debt at this point in time is $112.5 million. Now, I'd like to say that over the past 6 years, we've done a really nice job dropping our debt. When I took over in 2015, we had debt close to $220 million. Now we've really dropped that down. We put ourselves in a good position, which was an important piece to when COVID hit, we could manage this issue. And again, we did that by cash flowing our projects, taking on any new debt, and making sure we met our commitments. In our 2015, we did a long-term needs study, and this is really to identify capital projects, a capital plan. We wanted to break down what did we need to improve on the Kansas Turnpike? What projects need to be looked at? We identified a number of projects, and we're going to spend over $700 million in the next 10 years, starting from 2015. So currently, we've completed 40 projects to date. We've spent over $355 million on improvements to their system through the first 6 years. We've kept our commitments. We're making improvements. We're making sure the roadway is safe and reliable. So let's walk through some highlights a little bit about those projects. First one is drainage. Obviously, the Kansas Turnpike has had issues with drainage over the years, for many, many years. We decided to really dive into this thing and really make sure that we resolve these issues. We've been spending over $5 million a year the past 5 years. We've identified multiple locations. We've improved currently 16 locations. And you have to understand this. Our system is 65 years old. And so the drainage and the standards in the 1950s are much different than the year in the 2020, correct? So we had to go in and modernize our drainage system to make sure that water on the roadway did not happen. And so we cannot predict what Mother Nature will do, but we had to try to mitigate the issue as much as possible, and we've been doing that. So we understood the critical issues, we've attacked those issues, and we continue to invest in drainage. Another highlight, freight improvements. We understand we're helping the Kansas economy. We understand we have to keep an interstate open. We've focused on those commercial customers that are so important to our business in Kansas, getting goods and services to our homes, to our businesses, getting product moving. We've improved parking, ramps, our service areas. We recognize that freight in the state of Kansas is important to us. And so that's why we spent millions of dollars so far improving our system for our freight customers. In addition to freight, with freight comes bridge raising. We've raised a lot of bridges. Many of our bridges built in the 1950s were below standard in height. We identified 100 bridges that were under the 15.9 threshold. We've currently raised 51 bridges, either replaced or raised bridges, and we spent over $27.5 million over the past 5 years on lifting those bridges to make sure that's safer, and better for our customers and freight. So we can get more freight moving as well as safer, because obviously bridge strikes and those kind of things do happen. We've got to make sure we have a safe system, so we've invested in that. And it's a really unique thing to see a bridge lifted. Yes, you lift the bridge, reset it, and we're doing that. I think the most exciting project we've invested in the last 5 years is our open road tolling. That's high-speed electronic lanes. So as you understand, you've probably been on I-70, I-35 now. We started in late 2017. We wrapped up the Eastern Terminal high-speed lanes. Now in 2018, we finished East of Peak on I-70. In late 2019, we wrapped up the Southern Terminal down by the Oklahoma border. So again, K-tag, you do not need to stop. You keep moving at high speeds. It's actually safer, and customers love it. It was requested by customers in our customer surveys, hey, we see what other states are doing in modernization and technology. We want you to do the same thing. So we invested early in that. We spent $55 million on open road tolling for our system, and it's become very popular. And we understood that's a good investment for our customers. And again, safety, can't put a price on that. It's important to do that. And customer convenience, it works hand in hand. We appreciate the customer feedback, and we've invested in that. Now, the newest project is 53A. In February, we opened our first cashless ramp. We opened this on the East Wichita, East Kellogg project. So if you're southbound KTA, southbound Turnpike, you can slide onto westbound Kellogg with no toll booth. And you don't necessarily, if you don't have a K-tag, it's okay as well. So now here's the options. I have a K-tag. I slide onto Kellogg, not a problem. I'm going to ding your K-tag. Not a problem. Pay your toll that way. If you don't have a K-tag, not a problem as well. You can go online. You realize, oh, goodness, I don't have a toll booth to stop and pay, right? Not a problem. We've got your license plate. You can go online and pay that cash price. And if you fail to do that, we'll take a picture. We'll send you a bill in the mail, and you'll have 30 days to pay that bill. So much more convenient, much safer, keeps the flow of traffic moving. It's what people in other states are witnessing. They've relayed that information to us, and we've got our first cashless exit in Wichita. Very exciting. And this is going to be very important for us because we can learn customer behavior and trends and find out how customers are and really how they're understanding this. A ton of education will go into this opportunity for us to educate customers on the future of what tolling needs to look like going forward. So in 2019, we also embarked in a economic impact study. As we talked about, we understand freight and understand it's important to help our state and our communities. This impact study, done by a third-party consultant, showed our impact here as a Turnpike. Annually, we know we help over 1,380 jobs keep moving in Kansas. $236 million are put in back in the economy from the Kansas Turnpike. As you also know, those dollars can roll over a couple times, and that's very important. 12%, this is the key number, 12% of the Kansas economy flows through the Kansas Turnpike. What's that tell us? It tells us it's very important that we understand the impact, we understand our responsibility to maintain a good quality system. The infrastructure needs to be quality, it needs to be safe and reliable, and we understand that, and have validated our improvements that we wanted to put in place and we are investing in. And so it really is important. I think it's very important to understand that the Kansas Turnpike, obviously, it's a thoroughfare for travelers. And half of our traffic comes from out-of-state customers. So we're able to utilize out-of-state dollars to come in here and help pay for our projects, pay those tolls, which we turn around and put in the Kansas economy. And again, we don't receive any tax dollars, so everything we produce, we put back in the Kansas economy. We're very proud of that. We also embarked on a strategic plan. Where do we want to take the Kansas Turnpike over the next few years? And through this, technology from customer behavior, from customer surveys showed us that cashless tolling was our answer. We understood that listening to customers is the most important thing we can do. You have a choice. You do not have to go on the Kansas Turnpike. You have to pay a toll. It's a premium to be on our system, so we want to offer a premium product. So what does the future look like? And so we embarked in that. We listened to customers. Customers told us, when I took over in 2015, 40% of our customers had K-tags. Today, 65% of our customers use K-tag, and that's growing. It's the future of tolling. Understanding I don't have to stop. I don't have the cash on me. I just want to keep moving. In this era of COVID, right, maybe I don't want to touch somebody. I don't want to touch money. I just want to pay, ding my K-tag, go forward. And we're doing that. And I think that's the future of where tolling's going. National interoperability. So state to state, as you know, your K-tag works in Texas and Oklahoma. Their tags in Texas and Oklahoma work in Kansas. Our goal here is to continue to work with states across the country. We hope soon to bring in Colorado into our system here in Texas and Oklahoma and Kansas. And we continue to have conversations with other states. Now you have to understand, this is going slow and those communications continue. But our effort to improve our technology here puts us in a place to continue to work with other states. We want to work with the southeastern states. We want to work with the technology in the northeastern states as well, or the West Coast. We understand, and customers deserve the opportunity that they have one tag, I can drive anywhere in the country. That's got to be the goal. We want that to happen. Right now, each individual state may have different technology, so we're all working together, hopefully, to improve that technology so we can all read each other's technology to eventually allow people to drive state to state. And that's an effort we'll continue. And I know it's been going since I've been there for the last 6 years, and that is an ongoing goal as part of our, it makes things seamless, better for the customers. And again, the ultimate goal is cashless tolling. We understand that we're keeping traffic moving, modernizing the Kansas Turnpike. Our customers like it. The business likes it. The experience is important. Open road tolling that you see right now gave us a taste of that. Convenient, safer. That's where the future is. So in 2024, that's our goal. We will be cashless tolling in 2024. We'll start to put gantries up even this year, start to preparing ourselves for 2024 to have a cashless system. We understand that will be the future. That will help customers, help business, keep it safer, and we're very excited about the modernization. From our back office to on the lane, on the roadway, we are making the improvements. So I appreciate the opportunity today. I went through that pretty quickly. To summarize, we're very proud, as you can probably tell. I think I have the best job in the state. I love the Kansas Turnpike. We're making a difference, and we love what we're doing. We're improving our operations. We're making it modern. We don't take any tax dollars, and we're very proud of that. We live and die by our revenue, and we take that seriously to have a good financial backbone, and we're very stable because of that. We understand our commitment to helping the state and our customers. We have some of the lowest tolls in the country. We want to maintain those low tolls. Our modernization allows us to help maintain those low tolls by lowering our operational costs. And it's a choice. You have a choice. And we want you to make that choice. If you come on the Kansas Turnpike, you're going to have a great system. And we want to earn your business by that. And again, we love telling our story, and I appreciate you letting me come today and tell that. And Chairman, I stand for questions.
Senator Cluse.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Steve. That was just a great presentation. I mean, that's just, I don't know much about the Turnpike, so this has been real informative, and appreciate that. So I did just have a couple questions, just more curiosity, if that's okay. Do you guys own the land, or do you lease it?
We own the property, yes. The Kansas Turnpike owns the property we own, our easement, our roadway. That is the property of the Kansas Turnpike.
And then with going cashless, how will that affect like some of the toll workers?
That's a great question. So we embarked on this review, this strategic plan here a few years ago, and we looked, and 70% of our toll collectors would be at retirement age over the next 8 years. We actually reduced our staff. We used to be well over 400 employees. We've been slowly breaking that down and cutting back as employees retire. What we have new opportunities, we hope to place folks in different locations. We have a workforce transition plan that allows new customer service jobs, new tech jobs. We have IT jobs. We have a lot of new potential jobs coming for collectors that won't retire. So a lot of them will be able to retire over the next 4 years. And those who can't, they're going to have opportunities to be placed in different jobs in the Kansas Turnpike. But we also are offering training, continuing education opportunities at no cost for them. So if they don't want to be a customer service agent, or they don't want to be an IT, or they don't want to be a toll tech, if they want to do something else, we want to offer that opportunity for them. So there's going to be new jobs in HR and some additional jobs. We hope that we don't cut any jobs. That's not our goal, to cut any jobs, just to replace them and put them in other locations.
Just one other question. So when you do the bridge liftings or build new bridges, how does that work as far as who's responsible, like for the connection, like when you're in the county area? Is that the state pick that up? Do you guys pick everything?
We pick everything up. So we'll lift that up. We'll build the connection. It's all turnkey. Kansas Turnpike will manage all that. We work with the local counties, or we work with the state on a lot of those issues. We make sure we cover everything. Our contractors or our staff will make the connection and cover all the costs.
Steve, you might mention how sometimes a county or a city may want to widen the bridge at the same time, and how we coordinate and partner with that.
Yeah, that's a great point. So let's say we have a bridge that needs to be raised or need to be reconstructed or redecked. And so the county will say, hey, we'd like to see that wider for, travel or safety or equipment. And so they can put in a little bit of money. And so we put in our money together, and we can and make that project a little better for the county, and it meets their needs as well. So we try to make those opportunities to offer. In fact, though, we've had counties say, we don't want that bridge anymore. We'll take that out, and we'll put those dollars to our other locations. But yeah, we work with counties very closely, and before we'd ever walk into a county and affect their bridge, we want to make sure we're communicating with them, because it will affect their traffic for a little bit. So a farmer or other folks in that area might have to reroute, and so we need to communicate. So we start early. We start years in advance communicating bridges and locations we've identified, and opportunities. And if there's an opportunity to widen that bridge, we'll take that opportunity and work with the locals to do so.
Thank you. And people who want to continue to pay cash, we have a bank card, bank pass system. Is that still going to be continuing in 2024, you think?
Yes, there's a lot of customers that I don't have a credit card. I don't want you to have my credit card information or my bank information. So how could I continue to use, the Kansas Turnpike? Number one, we'll send a bill to you so you can send us a check. But if you'd like to get the discount, because if you save money with a K-tag, everybody knows, we have a bank pass. So you can go to Kroger's, Dillon stores. You can with cash, load a bank pass that reads on our system, so you can receive the discount and still keep that cash option available for you. So we have multiple ways of doing it. And there's commercial, there's bank pass, pre-pass, best pass. There's lots of different passes that we're working with to offer that discount. So you save 25% with the K-tag, and we want to continue that. So there's options, though, if you're a cash customer, and I still want to stay a cash customer, but I want that pass, we have opportunities with that.
And for those online, we don't take tax dollars, but the fuel taxes that are earned or spent from our commercial traffic, that goes to the Kansas State Department of Transportation?
Correct. So all fuel tax, if you would buy fuel on the Kansas Turnpike, that tax is sent to the state. Also, any sales tax we generate will be sent to the state. So again, we don't utilize any sales tax or any tax at all, but we do produce some tax, and we'll send that to the state and the feds to utilize.
Thank you. Senator Dietrich.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the presentation. I agree, very informative. What do you think the most accident-prone pieces of the Turnpike are right now? Is it the plazas where you get on and off, or are there sections of the Turnpike that you have the most issues with?
I think overall, we have a really high grade. Number one, I want to say that we have a safety grade that's very, very high. I think our issue really is, I think drainage was one of our biggest topics. It was our biggest issue when we had major storms, water on the roadway. That was a safety issue. And again, we've tackled 16 locations, put a lot of money into that. We do have some older ramps that we are attacking at service areas, on and on locations, and we're attacking those as well. That's part of this long-term needs study. So that's aging infrastructure from a standpoint that I don't have to do anything. I could leave them the way they are, they are grandfathered in from the 1950s, but we haven't been investing, and we'll continue to invest in that. So that's obviously a thing. I think we're obviously a roadway widening. We're going to be needing that on I-70 where we've not done that yet, so we'll go to 2 to 3 lanes on some of that area as well because the traffic will pick back up. COVID has slowed that down for a little bit, as we talked about, but that will pick back up to a point when, no, we're going to have to continue that widening because that gets to a threshold that we have congestion, and we need to alleviate that. So there's a multiple areas, but I think drainage was our #1 issue, and we've been attacking that. We got the critical areas out of the way. We'll continue some lower minor areas, but again, we go through things like safety assessments. Well, we have a third party come evaluate the entire system right now, and they'll tell us, they'll prioritize, hey, we think these are the issues you need to tackle, and then we'll invest in those areas immediately. And again, we're ready to dedicate where those problems are at, and we'll continue to do that as needed. But I think the drainage has been our biggest issue that we've tackled.
Thank you, and I do think the Turnpike is fabulous. I use it constantly, so thank you. One more question, if I could. Storm shelters. I didn't even know we had storm shelters in different areas. How do we know where they are? Okay,
so we do have storm shelters. Now, this is a little bit of a misconception of it. We do not have enough storm shelters for all customers. So you have to understand, if we have 100,000 people driving today, we don't have storm shelters for 100,000 people. We have storm locations at our service area. So if you can get to a service area, one of those 6 locations, there's going to be an ability to get to a safe spot. And then our plaza locations have those small in-ground shelters. So you have an opportunity. We don't do a tremendous amount of advertising with that because they are limited in space. Because #1, they are built primarily for toll collectors and maintenance staff, but they're out there. And if you see them, and we have YouTube and different marketing opportunities, we've been telling that story. But we're cautious because if we had a plaza that we had 1,000 cars stop, which probably won't happen, but if it had too many, that we wouldn't turn anybody away. But it become cramped and it become a challenge because we don't have 100,000, population for, ready for storm shelter. So we do have them. We want to make sure our staff's safe, and those travelers that can't and they stop, we'll get them in a shelter where needed. But there are plaza locations and service areas.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Steve. Very nice. I like facts and trivia, so that all fits good this morning. I am your car dealer on the committee, and I remember in the early days with K-tags where we had to pay for those, and it wasn't cost effective for businesses. So I think that the biggest piece of that is that they're free. And then I almost feel guilty driving straight through and not stopping to pay a toll when I'd have to do that. So I really appreciate that. I do have a question. Occasionally from home in a rural area, and I'm north central Kansas, some of my constituents will receive toll bills from out of state, not necessarily Kansas. And it has something to do with the picture on the tag. Do you know how that's happening, or is it was more common. I'm seeing it die down a little bit, but I still deal with a couple a year. And the Department of Revenue always takes care of those for me, but people do get frustrated with that. Can you tell us how that happens?
Tags are always a challenge when it comes to video from the standpoint if those states don't have a list of all the different tags. As you know, Kansas has a tremendous amount of tags, and sometimes duplicate numbers can be on tags. So, for example, if I have Fort Hays State tag 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I have a K-State tag 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm driving across the state, and then someone takes a picture in Colorado, and the first one that pops up could be an antique tag. It has that same number as a K-State tag or something else. So then they'll send that bill to that person as an antique car, and that antique truck hadn't left the county for 20 years probably, right? So why did I get this bill? And so what we've been trying to work with is we've encouraged all those customers, a lot of them call us, and we contact Colorado or other states and try to work it out and show them, okay, show us a picture, we can help you work this out. Okay, that's actually a Fort Hays State tag, or that's actually a veterans tag, and so they can then find the right person it goes to. And that's why, because some of these other states, they have a list of tags and these numbers, but the first one in alphabetical order pops up. And that's where that problem is happening. It's getting better as we share information, it's getting better. But those periodically will happen, and they potentially could even happen to us where someone comes across an Oklahoma tag and we'll take a picture of it and we'll send them a bill. did they go to the right person? And what we do, if they call us, we go, okay, it wasn't you, so we need to find the person it was. So we work through that, and we have good relationships with state to state. And again, we encourage all your constituents or customers, even if they're not a Kansas Turnpike, just call us, and we can probably help that Turnpike, wherever it may be, Colorado, Texas, wherever, to find the right person it goes to so that they can remove that bill off that person's name.
Any further questions?
Mr. Chair, this is
Go ahead online.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks for coming in here and talking about the Turnpike Authority. This is Senator Pittman from up in Leavenworth. You know, we've got a number of bills that have come through as part of the Ike plan about expanded tolling possibilities when we have extra capacity. Is the Turnpike Authority presumably the one that would be administering the tolling on, say, if there were ever to be an extra lane, for example, on a highway that was extra capacity and it was a variable toll depending on the congestion, or if there in the next 20 years if there was another bridge across the Missouri River that was a toll bridge, would the Turnpike Authority be the one taking that over from the tolling perspective? And how do you feel the agency is prepared for maybe different tolling opportunity, like tolling? If you are, how do you think the agency is prepared for that extra load on the operations?
Those are two excellent questions. Number one, the original tolling bill that came out of the original IAC program talked about community needs to approve tolling, then it would come to the Kansas Turnpike Authority Board, and then to the Finance Council for approval. So with that, I guess, bill, yeah, it would make sense for, obviously, as we're the only tolling agency in the state, that we would work with the Kansas Department of Transportation on tolling. An agreement between the two departments would need to take place. We would be able to manage that, and we could toll those dollars, and then our costs be covered and send those dollars back to the state. That can be done. As for technology, which is a great question, as part of our cashless growth and system we're moving, we are building our back office to manage cashless systems, would also then mirror and support any additional toll roads that the state may want to do and come to us to potentially toll. We may potentially have to add some staff, but in an agreement between the Department of Transportation and the Kansas Turnpike, we would build those costs in to make sure to let the Kansas Department of Transportation know those costs. We build those in. I could beef up my staff to handle it. It would need a tremendous amount of new staff because of technology-based, the way things are going now, you're not going to put a toll booth on any of these new roads that you potentially are talking about, like a managed lane. So it's just technology. So maybe another IT person or two to manage that, or a finance person to go through the billing. But otherwise, we would build that in the toll process itself. So we are prepared if the DOT wants us to partner with this project, and if it goes through and the community wants it, we'll be ready to go. We'll be prepared to do that. And our technology improvements we're making right now will be in place before any new projects like that are in place. Hope that answered your question.
Fantastic. Yes, it does. Thanks so much.
Senator Clues.
Mr. Chairman, just curious then, so the Turnpike Authority is under the state, or it's its own entity? Is it like a nonprofit, for-profit, or?
So it's typically like an enterprise. So created by the state, by the legislature. Legislation created us and put us on our own. We are bound by state laws like state budgeting, meaning we provide the state with our budget. We don't take any tax dollars. We don't spend any tax dollars. We don't are coming to ask for state dollars. We live within our own realm of budgeting. We stand alone, but we do. Our CAFR is sent to the state. We have our public meetings, public dollars. We're still public. We're just not potentially state employees. Our staff is eligible for capers. And so it's kind of like quasi-state government. We're not a state government, but we're on our own independent. But we follow those open statutes that talk about open meetings, open books for our public dollars. So we have to be very open and transparent with those kind of things. Any
further questions? See none. Thank you for the presentation. Appreciate
Appreciate
it.
your time. Thank you very much.
Committee, we will be working bills tomorrow, the bills we'd heard on Friday, and appreciate your time. With that, we are.